What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another GGF motherboard unboxing. Today we're going to be taking a look at the ProArt B850-Creator WiFi NEO. NEO being their new refresh line in the AMD platform. I think last week I had a look at the Strix, that was the e-gaming Wi-Fi NEO, and this time we're looking at the ProArt. I think the only board I want to take a look at next is probably the Dash A. The Dash A's are normally always their white former board. Always like my white build, so I think, yeah, going with the Dash A, see what new features are on the white one. I mentioned in another video, all the DIMM slots are now white. They've added a lot more white parts on the board than previous. There's nothing worse than getting a white board and then the whole DIMM slots are all black and all of that, although you don't really see them, but well, that didn't peel off very well. Let me get that peel off. I always like to peel these off so you get an idea, because with that on, super reflective, so if I left that on, but when you take this off, it's a very nice matte, kind of got a little bit of texture to it, so that's why I always like to take the peels off. Alrighty, so NEO, we have a new 64 meg BIOS. Mentioned that in the previous video. It looks very updated, very fancy, and it also has the Wi-Fi drivers built in. Previously, I think ASUS were doing LAN drivers, but I think Wi-Fi makes more sense. I believe they did LAN because it was smaller, so they could fit it on the smaller BIOS, but now being Wi-Fi is easier, having the larger BIOS it can fit on there. More people are going to have access to Wi-Fi probably than network, RJ45. I do prefer my physical network over Wi-Fi, but if you're setting up a PC quickly, Wi-Fi is probably the best to go. We do have updated LAN. We have 2x5 gig. That's pretty sweet. Talk about that a little bit later on. Now, board aesthetics. Let's grab the big brother X870E. Now, I'm not going to do a complete comparison because we're not looking at the same chipset, anything like that. Mind you, I have taken off the a CPU mount down bracket, so don't get confused. It makes it kind of look a little bit like Intel when you take off these, but I've obviously used this in a loop, and you normally have to always take these off in a loop, so that's why that looks a bit different. Board aesthetics look pretty good. I think I always do prefer the higher end models, mainly because you do get the heatsink covering more areas. I think that always looks better, even on the Intel. Now, I do agree when people say Intel boards always look better. Like, just look at that. Looks so good. This just flips up. Pretty nice looking board there. But yeah, whenever there's more heatsink mass around the board, whether it does anything or not, like, it's pretty much doing the same things. This is strictly M.2, strictly M.2. Chipset here, smaller chipset here, so it doesn't need it up here, and then the primary M.2 here. So not as much going on, but then again, I think the X870 does look a little bit better in that area. Now, moving back onto the board, don't want to spend too long comparing the other. Some of the main things, no onboard buttons like power, reset. Let me know what you think about that. Postcode LED, I think, is important. It doesn't have the 2-digit postcode, but it will have the single little individual lights that goes from CPU, RAM, VGA, boot. I think that is enough for most people. Obviously, stuck on CPU, I rarely ever have that. That could be if you put in a newer CPU that's not supported on the board, you need to do like a BIOS flashback, or it wouldn't be flashback, you'd be using flashback, but you would be updating the BIOS. Something like that. Most of the time, CPU, you don't have an issue. RAM is a pretty big one, so if it gets stuck on the RAM, you've either got mismatched RAM or the config's wrong, or you need to do something like that. And then you've got VGA, then boot. That's more than enough for most people. Even on the 2-digit ones, when it throws up a random code, most people need to either Google that code or head to the manual to see what it does. One interesting thing, no CMOS button like clear CMOS on the rear. There's a BIOS flashback, which is there, which is always welcome, but no clear CMOS. No doubt you can clear your CMOS somewhere down here. Could be that one. It's normally a two-legged one. Probably this one here. You normally just short them out. But it's weird that it doesn't have the physical button. That's always welcome. Just a little button somewhere. You're going to hold that down. No backplate. I wouldn't expect a backplate. I don't even think we get a backplate on these ones. Yeah, so you don't even get the backplate on their highest end boards, which is fair enough. ProArt, they're really for creator series. They're for creators. We don't need anything too fancy like that. We don't need any sort of gamer style aesthetics or any gamer sort of sort of improvements that you may get on a gamery style board. Now power, we're looking at 14, 2 plus 1. Nothing crazy, but then again, as I said, aimed at creators. They're not going to be doing any insane overclocking. Absolutely no heat pipes or anything going through that heatsink, and they're 80 amps per stage. Comparing it to this one, does look a little bit nicer, a little bit cleaner. I do like the aesthetics between this, the silver touch there. We don't even have a heat pipe on this one. We just got a huge chunk of aluminum. This one is 16 full of power, and then we're dropping down to the 14 for here, because obviously this board is cheaper. They do have to try and reduce the cost somehow. 4 DIMM up to 256, that's 4x64. 64 is the new standard for 4 DIMM boards. Up to 8600 mega transfers plus OC. Probably not going to get that unless you are running 2 sticks, and then it also comes down to the memory as well. It's also running ASUS's enhanced memory profile, AEMP. I'm going to throw this memory in. Absolutely love this T-Create from Team Group. Now, if you saw my Computex coverage of their booth recently, I think that was probably a week to 2 weeks ago now, they do have some new stuff coming in this. It's kind of updated, but even their old RAM, like this is still DDR5. I don't even know what speed this is. Let's have a look. 6400 CL40. So it is a little bit old. I've had this for quite a long time now. It's not the fastest latency, but this looks really, really nice. Just look at that. Matches absolutely perfect. I don't think you could get a better matching combo if you try. And I don't even know if they planned it. I think it was just one of those things where they were creating that memory, and then the ProArt boards came out and it just worked perfectly. PCIe slots, we have 1, 2, 3. The top 2 Gen 5 by 16, physical 16 are your CPU direct attach ones, and they support by 16 for the top or 8x8. So obviously, if you're using cards in both, they will both run at by 8. That's just how it is with boards like this, especially when you have 2 Gen 5s connected to the CPU. Now for the AMD chipset, we have a third physical 16, which is this one here. This one runs at PCIe 4 by 4. Once again, if we turn this upside down, we can see the by 4, which is that one. The 2 other Gen 5 16s you can't see because they use a different surface mount technology. And we can also see we've got one more here. So if you have a look on the top side, and that is a Gen 4 by 1. So maybe something like a capture card, sound card, anything like that, we have that. And that is not shared with anything, which is good. So if you've got some small little card you can throw in there, that'll work. For the sharing now with this one, you have to be careful that this one is also shared with one of the M.2 slots, which is the M.2_3. These two basically share. So if you use this one, you'll lose this. And if you use this, you will lose that. You can configure that in the BIOS, which way you want to go. Now moving down to the M.2 slots, let's see, we have Q release, which is over here. I was just about to press it there. Always find it's funny when it's over in this corner. It's not the easiest place to reach. Obviously over here, it's on this side. Much easier to reach this one. Just pop it off and then away you go. Being in this corner here, both of these are in this corner, makes it a little bit difficult to reach. So M.2 Q release, which is this one, release that. Not the beefiest heatsinks for Gen 5. Would have expected a little bit more. If you look at the one on the X870, like 4 times larger. And then if you look at the one on the Intel Z890 ProArt, which I have as well, absolutely monstrous compared to that. So interesting, they've really dropped them down. Now, I've got to remember which way these ones went. I think it was the, let's see. Let us actually see if these are universal. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. Universal, don't even know which way it was now. I think the thicker one was up top. Makes sense to do that because they are just a little bit different. So these primary 2 or the primary 1, I always call these primary 2 because these are both CPU attached Gen 5 M.2 up to 2280. Nothing larger than 2280. So this is a standard 2280 M.2. So all 2280 on all 3. Let me know what you think about only 3 M.2 on this creator board. The previous X870E had 4. The Intel had 5. This one has 3. Obviously they need to cut costs somewhere. Would you have preferred more M.2 or would you prefer the more slots? Because here we're getting 1, 2, 3, 4. Although they technically can't use them all at once. Would you prefer 2 more and drop a slot? Technically, you could just put cards in one of these slots. If you use the GPU in here to sort of run at 8, you could run a hypercard in here and put 2 more M.2. You can only do 2 because it'll be running at 8. Running a hypercard, 2 will be the max at 8. If you did get a full 16, you could run 4, but being 8, you can only run 2 M.2. So let me know your thoughts. Just makes it a little bit more tricky that you got to get a card and then drop it in there. Then the third is connected to the AMD chipset. That is the M.2_3. You can normally tell which one's a Gen 4 or Gen 5. Gen 4 have the sort of nothing behind it. Gen 5 have this little backplate behind it, the little bit of thermal pad, and then the Gen 4s just have nothing over here. And then funnily enough, there is no heatsink for this one. So that is up to you guys to do what you want. Obviously these ones went on here. This one will not fit. Obviously there's nothing for it. So you will need to use a heatsink. Most drives will come with a heatsink probably. So that is fine. And then you just have to remember, which I mentioned earlier, these two are shared. You either get this one or this slot. And let me put this back together. But yeah, let me know if you think more M.2 slots, more PCIe, something like that. No sharing with USB or anything like that on this one. This one, they've seen it gone to sharing the slots rather than the USB. Mentioned earlier, network was beefed up for the LAN. We have 2 Realtek 5 gigabit, one there, one there. I think that's pretty good. The X870 ProArt had a 10 and a 2.5. I thought that was a 5. 10 and a 2.5. I don't know. What do you think? 2 5s is better than a 10 or a 2.5, or is the 10 and a 2.5 better than 2 5s? It comes down to your application and use. And the Z890 ProArt is the same as the X870. It's got a 10 and a 2.5. The network is Wi-Fi 7 2x2. Let me take that off. I don't even know why they put this bit of foam. I guess it's to protect it. Doesn't seem like anything would happen to it in the box. Now it's only 160 megahertz channel bandwidth, so let me know what you think about that. A lot of these more higher end boards are 320. Q antenna, once again, straight in, very easy to go. One thing before I cover USB, I did miss that ASUS have gone back to their PCIe Q release, this one here. This is the more basic one. The board I covered last week was the push down button and it physically moves the slot. This one just moves this out of the way so your card can come out. Obviously we all know this one that just had no buttons or anything. It just relied on you to rock the card back, but ASUS has gone back from that. You can see that there, rocking your card would release that. So ASUS are going back to the old school push button style. So yeah, we covered Wi-Fi, no 160 mega channel bandwidth, and covered the LAN now. Rear USB. I think this is lacking a little bit. I think it could be a little bit better. We've got 2 USB Type-C, 10 gigabit. So that is the max. No 20, no 40, no Thunderbolt, no USB 4, just 2 USB 10 Type-C. One does alt mode, which is the display port, which is this one that says DP. So that's pretty good running a screen or anything like that. Second one is just a standard USB 10. Then we have 2 more USB 10. It's kind of confusing. On ROG's boards, they're red. On ProArt boards, they are this teal color. Kind of makes sense not making them red. Obviously red is for the more gamer style. This color looks good. So the 2 10s Type A, this one, they're the teal. Then we have 4 USB 2. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So USB 2 is not too bad. Running mice, anything like that, I wouldn't waste any of the 10s for mice, keyboards and that. So yeah, it is kind of lacking. You get a total of 8 ports on the rear and no 20 or 40 or anything like that. Now for the front, we have a total of 7. We have a USB 20 gigabit that supports up to 30 watt power delivery, which is that one there, so just 1. We have a single USB 5 gigabit that supports 2 additional USB 5 gigabit ports. That's this one here. No right angle, they're just straight out, straight up, straight up. And then we have 2 USB 2.0, so not 3, which some of the boards in the Neo range are doing. I believe there's only probably no need for 3 on here because those ones are more for all-in-one coolers that have screens, fan hubs, RGB hubs. Probably a creator board like this, you're not going to go too crazy with RGB and all that, so 2 USB 2 headers that'll give you 4 additional USB 2.0 ports. So let me know what you think about the whole USB configuration. Then let me have a look at the X870E ProArt, and we can see the difference here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 just Type A in the 10s. That's nearly as many as this whole board had on the back. Then we have a 40, have a 40, we have a 20. So yeah, quite a lot in USB on that one. But once again, they had to drop the price somewhere and they have to make them some sacrifices because this board is quite a bit more affordable than these two others I have over here. Let's go down to graphics. We have one display port, does 8K30, something stuck in there. 8K30 for that one there. Then we have HDMI 2.1, reckons it does 4K 60, and then we can also do the USB out of the USB-C display port mode there. And then BIOS flashback there, and there's no clear CMOS, which I mentioned. You see a little hole there, that's just for the blinking light. But once you hold this down, it starts initiating if that light blinks, and then it stops when it's done. But yeah, definitely no clear CMOS. But I think that's it on this one, just a bit of a quick one. I'll probably use this in an upcoming ProArt build. I know I've got the, over here, that GPU is the 5080 ProArt. I've been waiting to do a build on that. I've got the G-Key ProArt case. Obviously that's ITX, this board won't work. I really wish ASUS did like a ITX ProArt board. That looks sick, something funky. But let me know what you think about ProArt on this board. Let's just grab the other boards and then we can talk about price. So just noticed got a Tough Gaming, that's my mistake. I often get these mixed up, but I always put these covers back on. That is a must. Never leave just raw pins floating around. So for comparison of price, for the one I just covered, the B850, looking at $299. So that's not too bad, $299, but you are losing quite a lot of features. Not so many USB, and then of course all those onboard buttons. Some people may not even care about them. X870E Pro, $495 to $500 at the moment. I can see online, that's this one here. You are getting the extra M.2. Slot config looks very similar, but you are getting the beefier rear USB ports. And then the Z890, I think is a pretty good deal. Z890 Pro, $450 for this one. Slot config looks the same. You got this gorgeous layout here that rocks up. You got 5 M.2. Really nice heatsink design. And then look at this monster rear I/O. 1, 2, 3. So these are Thunderbolt 5. I think that's something up to like 120 gigabit both ways, or combined, one of them. Now it's got a normal USB 4 / Thunderbolt 4. Not so many on the Type A. We've got a 10 and 2.5, but then we do have these beefy Type C ports as well. But yeah, let me know what you think about this. This board's been out for a little while, so I'm just slowly getting through this Neo range from CS. The last one I said I want to do the Dash A, the all white one. Check out that. Let me know what you think about this board, if you're rocking it or if you are going to pick it up. But I think that's it. I want to thank you guys for watching. I want to thank ASUS for sending this out to check out, and we'll see you in the next one.